The word intrigue can finally be used for the ongoings of this test series. Bangladesh fight, and when they put up a fight, this is what happens. India find themselves in a bit of a sticky spot at this stage. Four batsmen gone. They're still more than 100 runs away from sealing this test match at the end of day three. Dinesh Karthik joins me, Manish Batavia on Cricbuzz Chatter. DK, this is what happens when the opposition puts up a fight, because look at this scorecard and you think, hang on, India were cruising, they were in the driver's seat, and they said, hang on, Bangladesh, let's make a contest out of this. 231 all out, giving India a target of 145, and in reply, it's Akshar Patel who's not out 26. He wouldn't have even expected to come into bat or at the end of day three, but that's where it stands. DK, how shell shocked are you seeing this scorecard at the end of day three?
A touch shell shocked, and only because we had the chance before that Litton Nurul partnership in many ways to bring the total down much less than 100, say maximum 100, 110. But you can see that partnership and Taskin Ahmed getting some lower order, runs, which in many ways troubled India. If India are struggling with 4 wickets down, credit to Litan Das, Nurul Hassan, and Taskin Ahmed for putting that 106 runs through that phase, which really troubled India.
Was there a touch of complacency, perhaps a shade of overconfidence? Were India caught snoozing? Did they already in their head build up this victory scenario, saying, "All right, test match in our pockets, it should be done in day three"?
I wouldn't say that, because the bowlers kept obviously creating opportunities. We weren't able to hold on to those half chances. Those are critical moments in the game. As in international cricket, when you give a batsman the opportunity of, or rather the luxury of having some drop catches, then we saw how Shreyas Iyer capitalized on it. Yes, he couldn't get 100, but he got runs. Today it was Litan Das, dropped on 20 and 49, but found a way to marshal their lower order contributions and get a very sizable score. The moment they score 130, 140, we were speaking about it yesterday, India wouldn't want to be chasing more than 180. They're chasing 155, but still, that is a very, very competitive total considering how the wicket is behaving right now.
When the lower order is putting on such a resilient show, what do you do as a captain? KL Rahul, he had five options. They bowled pretty well. If you look at the scorecard, 231, but it should have been finished much earlier. They were 113 for six, and then went on to score over 100 to reach 231. Is there a sense of restlessness that sort of creeps in when the lower order does what it did? Nurul Hassan and Taskin Ahmed scored 31 apiece.
Yeah, two things happened. One, as a bowling unit, you try for wickets. When you're trying to purchase wickets, then you tend to give some loose ball at times. You're not able to hold on to that pressure. And also the lower order batsmen sometimes bat more freely because they know that the only way to get out of this situation is to play positively and to counter attack. And that's exactly what a Nurul Hassan and Litan Das along with Taskin Ahmed did. So these three batters, played some shots. India were not able to in many ways apply the brakes on them. And if we are sitting here today discussing about this, I think the bowlers, it's in a way, wrong to criticize them. I think yesterday, the partnerships that happened before and after Pant and Shreyas batted hardly contributed in any way. And that has been the Achilles heel for us this test series. Partnerships not developing, just having one or two partnerships is never going to help you get a tall score.
Now, Virat Kohli dropping catches, in my opinion, should not be a story, because a couple of them were really tough chances. But you've spent your life behind the stumps. Give us a sense of how tough it is to take those catches.
It is tough. I think generally the thumb rule is any slip catch is a good catch, because obviously the time for reaction is much lesser than what it would be when you stand in the outfield. That is why it's a specialist position. For the longest time when Ajinkya was around, Ajinkya Rahane was a nominated slip fielder. With him obviously not being part of the test team, Virat Kohli has taken over the reins, and it's hard work. I mean, to be fair, it is real hard work because you need to concentrate a lot. You see the greatest fielders over a period of time, they've all been specialist slip fielders from the likes of Mark Taylor, Alan Border, Mahela Jayawardena, Rahul Dravid, all have stood for a long, long time doing that role because it requires immense concentration literally throughout the day. You got to understand, you can only concentrate that much and you want to save it for your batting, but if you're standing at slips, you need to concentrate again as well. So it's hard work. It's never easy, but it's a specialist position and you need people who are able to concentrate for long hours of time. And Virat Kohli is the right man, but didn't have a great day today.
Right, 145 to chase. And when India came out to bat, the one thing that every cricket fan wanted to see was India's approach. Did they seem a bit too timid, a bit too cautious, or was that approach okay?
No, I do think that they were cautious. Look, I think as a batter, what's happening here is they've gotten out playing the sweep shot a few times, so they don't want to play the sweep shot. In that, what happens is then you have to use your feet to counter the spin. And in that, we saw a couple of stumpings being done. So it's a bit of a catch-22 situation for India, but they did play cautiously when the pressure is against them. We have seen time and again where they kind of go into a place where they try to block themselves out of it and wait for the bowler to bowl bad balls. But the wicket is behaving in such a way that getting a bad ball is not that easy. I think in many ways the bowlers are bowling long spells and they are consistently hitting one area. They're just changing their line a bit, but their length seems to be in many ways consistent, and that has troubled India a lot.
The younger cricket fan who enjoys cavalier batting a lot more would ask, DK, explain to me, why would you come down the track to a spinner and defend?
It's very simple. I think for batsmen like Pujara and Shubman Gill, stepping out comes very naturally to them. So the moment the ball is released and it goes above their eye line, they tend to step out. That's the way they bat. But the problem in this match has been the fact that the wicket has turned at times in certain spots and it hasn't. So you always tend to play for the one that turns and comes in, and and that's what caused the downfall of a Shubman Gill playing inside the line looking for the turn. Whereas with Pujara, he stepped out, ball was slightly further away from him, didn't have control, and touch unlucky, but he has gotten out like that when stepping out at times, and it does happen. But if you don't step out and you don't play the sweep, then you're literally left with the bowler bowling either very full or very short for you to hit a boundary. And if waiting for that could basically mean that you have to put away you have to defend through a lot of good balls, and that can be hard on this wicket. So you have to show intent within your batting. And today, I think that's where India obviously maybe lost a trick, because there isn't any pressure on the bowlers. You could hear the commentators speak about it as well. But the major problem for India is the fact that they want to trust their sweep shot. And this wicket, probably in the first innings, a couple of the senior players got out playing the sweep shot. So they're telling themselves maybe sweep isn't a great option because it is keeping low. So then the only other option is stepping out and using their feet. And that has led to the downfall of two dismissals today.
So if it is keeping low, why then send Akshar Patel in at four? He'd already bowled 16 overs on the trot. I think he bowled 19.2 overs when Bangladesh were batting. Akshar Patel at four. Wouldn't you want your best batsman or the best batsman on the planet, Virat Kohli, to come in where he usually does at four?
No,
How surprised were you?
I wasn't too surprised with this move, because we have to understand what is the toughest phase of play. With the new ball, hard new ball, there is something for the spinners there, because the ball tends to hit the seam and turn, or if it hits the leather, it just goes straight on. And it could be hard work playing left arm spin and knowing the fact that we don't have too many shots which can be very attacking in nature. So sending an Akshar Patel left, right, trying to make use of the conditions at the moment, and that's Akshar Patel would have probably liked to have played more positively, but the fact is that when he was batting today, wickets fell around him, so that didn't allow him to take those big risks which were required. So it is justifiable to a point. I mean, when you look at it and say, we have the best batsman and Virat Kohli, why not send him? But the other way to look at it is, if you send a left-hander there and he gets you a few runs, and if he does play some attacking shots, it eases the pressure for the next batsman coming in. So it is understandable. And interestingly, he's been the highest scorer and by a distance as well, so far in this inning. And he's not been troubled too much. So the key for us would be right now to prolong this partnership. The more we bat, the more irritated they're going to get before they give in. But we have Pant and Shreyas to follow, who are obviously much better players of spin and who can take on the bowling. So it'll be very interesting to see how India plays this tomorrow.
It's that time of the year when cricket fans and cricket analysts and experts such as yourselves look back at the year and you say, all right, hits and misses, and that worked and that didn't work. But the one number that will perhaps needle or trouble Virat Kohli fans is his average in the year 2022. Safe to say that the worst is past him. A test average of 26 point something, which is, I think, is his third lowest. Safe to say that the worst is past him, and the next year is going to, see a different Virat Kohli who's going to bat like a bomb, like we know him.
Yeah, I think it's been a tough year for Virat in Test cricket. He obviously had a tough time in the T20s and the IPL, but he obviously showed his form and class in the World Cup. But we can understand that it's been a tough year for him, and he's got a great series in Australia to show his class and stamp his class. But what's going to be interesting is, if India wants to force victories, they are going to, in many ways, try and play to their strength, which is to aid spin, which would mean playing a lot on turning tracks. And that is something India would be very, very realistic about for us to win test matches. And how is the batting going to counter that is going to be very, very interesting.
Bangladesh will look back at that last passage of play and say, listen, hang on. Yes, we've never beaten India, but if our bowlers can do what they have, keep it tight, keep their body language right, keep asking questions, then it is possible to trouble India.
I mean, to be fair, India has been vulnerable throughout the year, and that is a fact. In at least the ODIs and Test cricket, I think it's not been a great year for Indian cricket. Let's be honest. So most teams playing against India right now fancy a chance, and that's the honest truth. And Bangladesh beat them in the ODI series, and looks well in control of this game. If they can get another couple of wickets within the next 20 runs, then it's going to be a huge uphill task. And I think Bangladesh coming into the Test match. Made all the right moves. They stuck to their three spin attack, which is something that India would have missed, I feel, because we played three medium paces, hoping there'll be a little more assistance for the bowlers. But it looks like it is a wicket which is aiding a lot more spin than pace.
The test format, 5 days, 15 sessions, and experts often say it's about those key moments or those key passages of play. And therefore, is it safe to say that that lower order resistance, 31 each from the two batsmen in the lower order, perhaps has changed the complexion of this test match, and India might well be looking at a test loss if things go well for Bangladesh tomorrow morning?
Let's be honest here, Manish. I think those 106 runs in partnership that game, Liton Das gets 74, and the other two lower order batters getting 31 each, is worth its weight in gold. That's literally 136 runs just from these three batters. The rest of them have hardly scored. You've scored 95 runs amongst them, and one guy got a 50 up top. So we're talking about something that has been an Achilles heel for India over a period of time. That's fifth wicket and sixth wicket partnership troubling India. We have had the luxury of operating with fast bowlers who are able to blow away the tailenders at times. But when the spinners haven't really done what they could on this wicket, it's very hard for the fast bowlers, considering the nature of the wicket, to blast through the opposition tailenders. So these two partnerships and these three batters in particular, in many ways, have taken Bangladesh to a very strong point in this test match.
Yes, you say Achilles heel, and fans might say deja vu because it's happened in the past as well. And that allows me to put Dinesh Karthik on the hot spot. 113 for six at one stage. They went on to score 231, giving India a target of 145. Their bowlers joined the party as well. As part of the team management, how do you address this issue of not being able to finish the tail in the dressing room, considering that the bowlers did most things right today and through the series?
What we need to look at is the attitude. Did we in many ways take it easy when they came, or were we caught unaware with the kind of batting that they possessed at that point of time? That is going to be the key question, because I have a feeling they didn't expect Nurul Hassan, who through the first three innings of these test matches hasn't fired. So they weren't expecting him to come and do what he did. That partnership and those crucial runs in many ways threw India off the boil because of the way they batted. And add Taskin Ahmed, who gets another 60-run partnership with a Liton Das, that troubled India a little more. I think when there is a left-hander, it's literally a belief that permeates in the dressing room that Ashwin will be able to get the batsman out. That's something the best of left-handers over a period of time for various other countries have obviously troubled these left-handers. Ashwin on this case wasn't able to produce that wicket-taking delivery or those opportunities that was required, and that became an issue for Team India.
Yes, if you look at that little passage of play in isolation, yes, you can perhaps ask the bowlers why they did not finish that tail, but they did enough to give India a target of 145, which should be chaseable for a team like India. So not much blame can be attributed to the bowling. They still got them all out for 231, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. I think if you're going to get a team all out for 230 and 225, I think as a batting unit, you would be happy. So you would look back and say, where did we go wrong in case they don't cross the line in this game, which I think is still a high possibility, though right now it is 60-40 in Bangladesh's favor as we head in today. But the batting is what actually has been a little bit of a downside in this series. I think generally when we come to Bangladesh, we expect more dominance with the bat because it is slightly flatter wickets. India won the toss in Chattogram, just posted 400. The second innings, they showed how good they can be, scoring 258 for 2. But they come back here, they have the opportunity in many ways to put pressure on them. But just the one partnership that happened in between, rather before and after that, there wasn't much. And that has been the issue. The batting in many ways hasn't fired as it generally would.
As an anchor, DK, I must admit I hate asking leading questions, but I'm tempted to make an exception today. Is it time for Indian cricket at large to bring in a certain sense of ruthlessness with the bat or the ball?
Absolutely. I do think more than ruthlessness, I think it is time to go back to the drawing board and figure out how exactly you want to do it. I think we are seeing various teams put a line in the sand and say, this is how we're going to move ahead with our cricket, and this is how we're going to play. And there will be failures along the way, but we're going to take it. I think that's where this Indian team is kind of, in a catch-22 situation. We heard KL Rahul come before the series and say that they want to play positive cricket, aggressive cricket, actually. That's the right word to use, aggressive cricket. But we haven't seen much aggression in terms of batting or bowling. It's just not the strike rates or the run rates that we're talking about, just the way they approach oppositions. When there is a sense of fear in the eyes of the opposition, you can feel it. I think that is something that probably is missing at this point, and that is something that they need to deeply look in, because we will be put under pressure when we play higher ranked oppositions in test cricket. I think it is the attitude and the belief in the dressing room that will come through at that stage. And that is something that they definitely need to go and look in. They need to change. Do they need to change the mindset, or they need to change the personnel, or do they need to change the mindset of the personnel? I think that is the question that needs to be answered.
Yes, an attitudinal change is called for. And here we are. Then we were hoping to talk about an India win. Hopefully that will happen tomorrow. Time now to fast forward with Dinesh Karthik. So Akshar Patel not out on 26. Jaydev Unadkat joined him at the fall of Virat Kohli's wicket. Rishabh to come, Shreyas Iyer to come, Ravichandran Ashwin to come. All of them can bat, and I'm sure put together, all of them can score the 100 that India need.
100%. I think there is no doubt that if we bat a little positively, and I say a little positively because when you hit a couple of boundaries, the bowler's under pressure, and you need to put that pressure on the bowler. Otherwise, they will find it very easy to come and toss it up at length. There is enough happening in the wicket, and they will allow the wicket to do the rest for them. We are at a stage where we need to take a couple of risks within the game plan of each batter and try for those boundaries. And that is the way you can put pressure on them. And we have two batsmen who naturally tend to do that, who are walking in after this, Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant. And we know one of Ashwin's great ability is to handle pressure. So that skill is definitely going to come out. But ideally, he would want to be batting with one of the batters in the top 7 so that he can make a mark with his bat as well. Every time he's walked in, a wicket has fallen around him and he needs to bat with the tail. That becomes a very different ball game altogether. But if he can find a person, one of the batters there during his stint, then that would really help in India crossing the line.
Expect to see only Taijul and Shakib from both ends, long spells?
No, I think they will start with Taijul and Mehdi Hasan Maraz, because he's troubled the right-handers as much as he's troubled the left-handers. So that is the way that they would start.
And any last piece of advice for those who are on the crease, Jaydev Unadkat and Akshar Patel?
The good thing about Jaydev Unadkat is the fact that he remained not out. So the bowlers still are finding a way to get him out. But if he needs to survive, he needs to back his sweep shot, which is something that he is very good at. What he tends to do is play a sweep and then wait for the bowler to toss it up and then step out and go for one wide of long on or long off. I think that should be his game plan. He is somebody who is capable of giving us 25, 30 runs with the bat. He's done that consistently in domestic cricket. So here is another opportunity for him. He's bowled well in this test match, an opportunity for him to show what he can do with the bat under pressure.
A piece of advice for you guys and girls as well who are watching us, sign up for Cricbuzz Plus. That's what you need if you're a cricket fan. You can't do without Cricbuzz Plus, can you? Because you can watch a lot of ad-free content, exclusive content that's available only on Cricbuzz Plus, features, interviews, match clips of Bangladesh versus India as well. And DK and I will be back one final time at the end of the test match tomorrow. Hopefully that'll be an early finish, maybe in an hour and a half, or maybe one session when India can finish it off. India need 100 runs. Bangladesh need 6 wickets. Will it be 2-0 for India, or will it be 1 apiece? We'll find out tomorrow. But do join us on Cricbuzz Chatter at the end of the day's play.